in your life that God is calling you to step out and trust him in? What is that thing this morning? Because I can promise you, if you will do that thing, it'll bring you great joy. I was sitting having breakfast with a couple of my friends this week, and guys I think very highly of and guys I trust. And I told them what I felt like the Lord was calling me to do. He was calling me to a radical faith, a faith where I have to trust him. And one of my friends, I told him what I feel like God's calling me to do. And I'll just tell you, I feel like the Lord's calling me to give away half of my salary this year. And he knows I have a family. And my friend who I was sitting with is a finance guy. And he looked at me square in the eye and he says, I understand what you're talking about, but that's nuts. And I love that. I love that because as I like you, look at my balance sheet, and I have to figure out how I can pay these things. Everybody budgets. And I look at this, which I feel like God's calling me to do. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I feel like he's calling me to do this. It's going to require me to trust him. Because I have a family, I have 4 kids. But God doesn't place it on your heart if he's not going to provide the means to do it. Can I sit here and tell you how that's going to happen? I don't know. And frankly, when God confirmed this to me, that this is what he wanted me to do, my first reaction was be a little bit scared. So I don't know how this is all going to work out. But I know from history, just history of my life, every time that I've needed the Lord, he's come through. Every time he's called me to a greater commitment to trust him, he has done overly, abundantly, above all that I can ask or think. And I would ask you this morning, what's God calling you to do? We look at New Testament and we read it and we think, man, those guys were radical. No, they were just obedient. They were just doing what God called them to do. And you might be thinking, Mike, you are a psycho, thinking you can do this. Well, this is something that has already started for us. It started in December, beginning of December. And let me just comfort you with the thought that you can't give out God, and let me prove that to you. Since December, beginning of December, we have given away about 10% of what the ultimate goal is. Okay? It's about $1,600. The Lord has given 26. Not all in cash, but in different gifts and things like that. The Lord will provide. And I would ask you, what is it that God is calling you to trust him in this year? He's not calling all of you to do what we're doing. This is for our family. This is not for you. But what's God calling you to do? For some of you, maybe it's for you to put your faith and trust in him for the first time. And trust your very soul to him to be justified. Why don't you do that? Take that step today. For some of you, it's to allow him to do his work in your life, to change you, to make you into the man or woman that he's called you to be. Will you let him do that this year? And for the rest of you, he's called you to find joy in your service. And whatever that is, for my family, you know what it is for my family this year. And I anticipate it to be hard, but what is it for your family? What is it for you individually? And will you dare to trust the Lord, to see what he does, to see what a supernatural God we serve, and to watch him do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we can ask or think. And I can promise you, if you will take that step, what you will find is joy. And what people will experience is joy that pours out of you into their lives. And they will know that because you live in such a way that those who don't know God will come to know God because they know you. Will you dare to have that type of faith this year? Let's pray. Father, thank you for your word. Thank you for the faith that you give. Thank you for the call that you've put on each of our lives. It's quite frankly, it's unsettling.